Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. Did you know that Lego blocks can be anti-LGBT? Which is funny because as far as I remember, they've made Lego toys pretty gay. But I guess that's what passes for science these days over at the Science Museum of London, England. Woke headlines like this used to be rife over here in the States until President Trump was sworn into office. And now it all seems like a very bad dream, but one that our English cousins across the pond are still living. So apparently the London Science Museum is hosting a self-guided tour called Seeing Things Queerly. Here's how the museum's blog page explains their bizarre and irrational phobia now of Lego blocks. They say, and I'm going to try and read this without laughing, but they say, quote, "The top of the brick with sticking out pins is male, the bottom of the brick with holes to receive the pins is female, and the process of the two sides being put together is called mating. This is an example of applying heteronormative language to topics unrelated to gender, sex, and reproduction. It illustrates how heteronormativity, the idea that heterosexuality and the male-female gender binary or the norm and everything that falls outside is unusual, shapes the way we speak about science, technology, and the world in general," end quote. Turns out this blog post has been up since 2022, but was just caught by an eagle-eyed observer over at the Telegraph, leading to this current controversy. As bad as all this is, it's even worse when it was forced onto our military, turning our fighting men and women into being the guinea pigs of a giant social experiment. President Trump and his defense secretary are already making major moves to reverse all of that, and the numbers are bearing it out. Army recruitment is hitting record highs, a complete 180 from the massive slump we saw during the Biden years. Joining us now to discuss is author and U.S. Army veteran, retired Captain Douglas Ernest. He is the author of The Spirit of a True Patriot, the inspiring story of retired Captain Douglas J. Ernest. Captain, thanks for being here tonight.
Hi, Kara. Thank you for having me on your show today.
Great. So talk to us about this recruiting turnaround we're experiencing under Trump. December was the best December they've seen in 15 years for the Army. I think it was 350 soldiers they were recruiting a day. But talk to us about this.
It's mind-blowing. I didn't think it was even possible to get to this point where we're at today, only 2 weeks after President Trump took the office. I thought this would have taken years. I would never expect the enthusiasm to be in our younger generation so high, so quick, that people would want to serve. You can see the swift action by the Trump administration. They came in and just wiped out DEI, wiped out critical race theory, wiped out transgender serving in the military. They gave people encouragement to join again. I have had multiple phone calls from people that I've served with who've asked me to talk to their children about serving in the military, and that has come in the last 2 weeks. People are asking me, what do you think about the Army College Fund, the Army bills right now, the GI Bill and so forth. People, the enthusiasm is just mind-blowing. I did not think this was possible. I assumed it would take a year or two to fix the debacle of the Biden administration. So this is a great day for our country to see a 15-year high. I just can't explain to you what an accomplishment it is for Pete Hegseth from the Trump administration to move so quick, so swift, and to get this job done so quickly.
No, definitely. And of course, you served your nation honorably during your time in the Army as a captain. And as you see behind you, you're the successful owner of a Corvette warehouse, a really amazing dealership out there. So can you talk to us about how you went from serving in the military to what you do now?
Well, great question. I joined the military back in 1990 when I was 17 to get some college money, and I didn't have any parents that had resources to send me to college, so I joined for the Army College Fund, and that turned into 20 years of becoming a patriot and serving in multiple theaters. Over the years I was granted the privilege to work with so many wonderful leaders that taught me these skill sets, and I was fortunate to come out and apply these skill sets to the small entrepreneurial world to start a business and do my dream, which is to play with these cars and fix up cars, restore cars, and use my skill sets of military training to transform that into make ready of cars and bringing these cars back to life, and then having the largest Corvette dealership in the Southwest. So for me, it was just an honor and a privilege to serve in these skill sets. If it wasn't for the military, I would have never learned the skill sets. I wouldn't employ the 10 people or the hundreds of people that are in our outsourced resource partners that help us get these cars ready every day. So for me, I am encouraged that we're able to have our recruiting go up so high because this is the backbone and future of our country. These 18 to 40-year-olds that join the military, this is what is going to propel our nation forward 10, 15, 20, 30 years in the future. And this is just, I cannot tell you the enthusiasm I've seen from the people that I work with, from people that I've talked to, and from people that I've served with in the military 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, as you talk about your experience and how your experience in the military has directly helped you back into the civilian world, right? And as you talk about, it helps so many others who've served as well to not just be the most lethal fighting force in history while serving under arms, but also taking a lot of those, being able to be in a leadership position, understanding logistics, understanding how to talk to people, how to interact with others. So much goes into it. So when you were watching, especially under the Biden years, but we saw under Obama and the like, how did you feel looking and seeing something that you love so much, the military, being used as a giant social experiment and completely being turned against its original founding mission?
You couldn't have said it any better. I mean, it was an experiment. It was like corporate America doing experiments in personnel and trying to see what would work and what wouldn't work and what we could do to increase efficiency. Would diversity help increase the workforce, increase productivity, increase efficiency? And it was just an experiment. It was a disaster. For a while I was saddened, then I was angry, and for years I kept my mouth shut. I didn't speak about my political views to anyone. I kept it to myself. I was a patriot inside. I had a flag in the front of my home, but I didn't talk. And there was a time a couple of years ago when I just said enough's enough when I wrote my book, and I said, I'm going to speak my mind. I'm sick of being the silent majority and not speaking out about what's going on in the world. The Biden administration used our military for an experiment, and they utterly destroyed the morale of those that serve, those patriots that are on the ground doing the hard work every day. Those people, these 17 to 20-year-old women and men that are out there in the dirt. You see that dirt in the background of the book on the cover, out working. Those are the people that get the job done, not the captains, not the majors, not the generals in the office, not those in Washington. They're in an office. I've been fortunate as a captain. I was in an office. I was rarely in the field anymore, but I was commanding people that were. So you have to understand 90% of the job is done by these 18 to 25-year-old kids. I call them because I'm older now, but I was one of those kids, and I worked hard, and I was taught by some of the best leaders, men and women, over the time I served in the armor and infantry, and I served at a brigade staff level, to be able to use those skill sets to train. One other thing that gives this thought to you, to let this settle in with your listeners. I got my MBA and I got a master's degree, and I've been fortunate to serve in these capacity of school, where I go to school with 40 people and 10 of them are veterans. And all the veterans that come through, we talk about what the MBA did for your career. Everyone you talked to said, yeah, an MBA was great, but the best experience I had to make me a leader at work, to make me a successful business person, to make me a successful engineer, was my basic training, my advanced infantry training, my skill sets in aviation, all these skill sets you learn in the military to be able to get along with people, learn how to get things done, learn how to be on a team. Those are skill sets that you can't learn anywhere else. And today, with the Trump administration and the changes that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has made, we have an opportunity for our younger generation to learn those skill sets instead of avoiding the military like they have for the last 4 years. Down 40% on military recruiting. It's not been that bad since Vietnam. The numbers were so bad. And you're talking 2 months after the electoral win, and you're talking 2 weeks after the Hegseth and President Trump have taken command, and you have a 15-year high. It's unfathomable. It's something I didn't think was possible. And if you can think how quickly we've turned around our country, imagine what's possible 6 months, 1 year, and 4 years from now.
And wasn't it Kimberly Guilfoyle, her famous RNC speech, right, that the best is yet to come? And I think we really feel that now. We didn't feel it so much in the 2020 election, obviously, but this election, I think we're feeling it. Like you said, it seems like the sky's the limit at this point. And I think, young people, they respond obviously to incentives. We saw what Biden offered, and it was a whole lot of nothing, right? Is being told that they're all evil and bad people, and, having to conform to realities that aren't real, calling sirs ma'am and ma'am sir, and all the craziness like we're talking about here tonight. But also just the fact that many felt they'd be sent abroad to conflicts and to combat that they didn't think served or furthered the American national interest. And now they feel they have a commander-in-chief who actually has their back, will only send them out when it's necessary to do combat and to do other missions and operations that will directly protect those that they love back at home. So there's a lot of great stuff moving forward, and congrats on the book. Captain, thanks for joining us tonight.
I appreciate it. And one last thing, I just want your viewers to understand the Biden administration used these experimental programs that actually were counterproductive to our troops. They pitted people against each other and they said merit is no longer important. Your hard work will no longer get you anywhere. It's the color of your skin or it's your cultural background. That destroyed the morale of our country. And I personally would not have allowed my children to serve in that capacity. Today, my thinking has changed, and I would be proud to send my children and recommend them to join the military. So if I feel like that after 22 years in the military, I know that the nation is turning and the pendulum has turned, and wonderful things are ahead for our nation. And God bless the Trump administration. God bless Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and God bless our great nation as we continue to move forward and propel ourselves to further success.
No, God bless you as well, sir. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You as well. And coming up next, why would Biden's FTC be working with a shady Chinese company to undermine American business? Details when we come back in 2.